Hey friends, Dr. Yaz, triple board certified endocrinologist and obesity specialist. And today we're talking about how to stay motivated to lose weight and never let self-doubt stop your progress. So I'm thrilled you're here today as we dive into a crucial topic, maintaining motivation for weight loss and overcoming self-doubt. So if you've ever struggled with staying on track despite your best efforts, this episode is for you. We'll explore 6 practical strategies to keep you motivated and tackle self-doubt. We'll also delve into the understanding difference between discipline and willpower, which is very, very crucial when it comes to weight loss, and why having a strong why behind your goals is essential. So let's get started. So I wanted to do this topic today because I have found my most successful clients really do a really good job of understanding why they want to get better. It's one of the first things I do when I interview someone is to understand their true intrinsic motivation, why they want to get somewhere, because it's proven if you have good intrinsic motivation, as opposed to external motivation from other people or other factors, you do better, especially when it comes to weight loss and hitting your goals. So basically, when you're maintaining motivation, this can be difficult because we have life. So many people, we start off strong, but we falter due to self-doubt or lack of clear direction. It's proven that when you're doing a weight loss program, the weeks 3 to 8 is where most people falter. So most people do great the first couple weeks and they lose weight really quickly. And then maybe the water weight goes and they don't lose weight away. And maybe the motivation starts to go then. But whatever it is or whatever the reasoning is, 3 to 8 weeks is when it starts to happen. So you're going to want to really understand how motivation works so that when you get to this point in your weight loss journey, you can get back on the horse or stay on the horse altogether. Because what happens is when you understand your true motivation, it impacts self-doubt and it helps you tackle those challenges of self-doubt very effectively. So basically, if you were to look at motivation, as a term in the dictionary, it's the drive that keeps moving you toward your goals, okay? Motivation is kind of like, like a river. It fluctuates, it winds in, it winds out. But when you understand it, that's the key to sustaining it, okay? And then by definition, self-doubt, this is something that erodes self-confidence and it questions your progress. Okay, so overcoming self-doubt is absolutely crucial for long-term success. So I'm going to show you how you can maintain the motivation and overcome self-doubt in 6 actionable steps. Okay, so the first thing, set clear and achievable goals. One of my best clients now, she really is so good before I even started doing with her at setting small, achievable goals. And they be macro goals, maybe a few pounds or increasing exercise 30 minutes a week. And she's killing it in the program now. And she's almost off all her insulin. She was on, about, I want to say something like 30 units with each meal, something like that. She was on a lot, okay? And she's really gotten off so much because she's just done these small little goals and everything's taken care of itself with that. So when you set a clear, achievable goal, it's fundamental to maintaining the motivation. So they did, there's a lot of research studies, and we'll link some of them in the show notes, but it shows that specific and challenging goals led to higher performance. So instead of just being vague and saying, I want to lose weight, set a SMART goal. And we've talked about SMART goals before on the podcast. So specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Those are SMART goals, okay? So it's an acronym. So an example of a SMART goal would be, I'm going to walk. So that's a specific activity I'm going to do for the week. Measurable, I'm going to do it, over 30 minutes. It has to be achievable, so I'm not going to run a marathon overnight unless I've been training for it. It has to be relevant because walking improves my insulin resistance and it can help with weight loss. And it's time bound. It's within a certain amount of time. It's a specific goal, measurable. Maybe it's 3 miles, in 30 minutes or something like this. It's relevant to my goals for my health and it's time bound. When you do a SMART goal like that and you achieve it, you journal every day and you get that, say, walking, you're likely to do more walking than you would have if you didn't make a goal at all. So write down your goal and break them into smaller milestones. And I want you to review them every single day, even for 1 minute. Then I want you to adjust your goals as needed to stay on track. Okay, so if something like that gets too easy for you, you may want to change up it to doing something like meditation for 5 minutes a day. Or you may want to say, I want to get in 3 servings of vegetables a day, something with abundance. But by doing these goals, you'll see that weight loss will naturally just come with it. And then you're focusing on these small goals rather than big picture, I want to be X weight, I want it, things that just don't work. SMART goals work. The other thing is we want to try to monitor our progress because this will reinforce our commitment and provide a sense of accomplishment, okay? So we do this all the time in school. We have, assessments, maybe little quizzes or tests or homework that we can look at throughout our time and see our behavior changes or smart changes or ways we're learning. So what we found is, with weight loss, there's so many studies, and this is taught in coaching, this is taught in the doctor's office. There's a lot of things about self-monitoring because it's linked to successful behavioral change. So using tools like journals or apps to record your progress help you celebrate the small victories. So that could be your step monitor. I know it sounds crazy. I'm not saying you have to be obsessive over the steps, but really looking at that does keep me motivated. I like those little awards it gives me, or looking at your nutrition and seeing how many more vegetables you're getting in. That's something that you could see in your journal. Or when you're doing those thought loops that we talk about in other episodes where, there's circumstances, thoughts that lead to, certain emotions, actions, and results. When we talk about thought loops, when you start to see your thoughts changing and becoming more neutralized and positive rather than negative, you can look through your journal and literally see your brain changing. And so that's the best small victory, seeing things like that. The other thing is you want to choose a method that works best for you, whether it's a fitness app, a journal, regular check-ins with a coach. Obviously, when you're mentored and coaching or with a group of people who are also, transforming their lives, it's probably going to go quicker. But either way, you want to track both qualitative and quantitative progress, such as your mood improvements, looking at your thoughts, or fitness gains, like being able to walk 30 minutes. You want to have things that are both number-wise, but equally, mood-wise. Because again, we always talk about how emotional eating, all these things absolutely affect your weight loss efforts. So by looking at both qualitative and quantitative measurements, you're going to see all your progress and that will keep the motivation going. So by literally looking at a journal, it can transform your life. So the third thing I want to talk about today is cultivating a positive mindset. See, a positive mindset is crucial for overcoming self-doubt. There's a lot of studies that show linking positive thinking leads to better performance and well-being. So by focusing on the positive outcomes and maintaining a constructive attitude, you can enhance your motivation. So I'll give you an example of a positive thinking. You can literally just say to yourself, I moved today. And if it's something that you hadn't been doing all the time, even if it's for 5 minutes, that's a positive way to outlook. Now you could look at it and say, oh, but I didn't run as fast as so-and-so, or you could compare yourself. Comparison, let me tell you, is the death of all happiness. When you do your own outcomes, you have to look at your own positive achievements. Do not compare your journey to someone else. By being constructive and looking at what you've done and what you can do to do better the next day will help. So example, I could say, I walked 30 minutes today, but I didn't sleep. I didn't sleep well. Now I could say, I walked 30 minutes and I didn't have the best night's sleep. That changes, it neutralizes the thought. But if I wanted to be even more positive, I could do this. I could say, well, I did a 30-minute walk, which was amazing. And tonight, I'm going to make sure I get a better sleep the next night by not going on my phone 2 hours before bed. Now, see, I did a constructive attitude. I said, tonight, I'm not going to go on my phone before bed, and it's going to enhance my motivation. I'm going to get a great night's sleep. And then likely, I'm going to walk even more the next day with the energy that I've saved from sleeping. So you see, you can really go from negative to neutral to positive that easily. Now, one thing I definitely want you to do is practice gratitude daily and use positive affirmations. They have awesome gratitude journals online. I use one of them and it lasts for about 6 months of the year, but you could write in any journal. You don't need one of those fancy journals on Amazon. It's just a treat for myself I get just because I love the little quotes they put in it. But practicing gratitude daily, it absolutely helps surround yourself with positivity. And when you're going through things like uplifting content or supportive people or encouraging environments, it really helps keep that motivation. And that leads me to the next step, which is number 4, building a supportive network. See, having a supportive network can significantly boost your motivation. And there's a lot of studies, I'll link them below, that highlight social support is critical for weight loss. If we've learned anything from the pandemic, we know people need people. We don't do well emotionally when we don't connect with others. We need to connect with friends, family, or if you're not ready to talk on that level with your goals, get a support group. It's a big thing in our community that we meet in a group basis because it helps offer encouragement and accountability. I love the women in my group now. They always help each other with different recipes or on how to meet even their water goals, movement goals, how to stay motivated. And I do find where one person is maybe not feeling something as much, when they're listening to someone else share their goals and they're picking up those steps, it really sets the tone. Even for myself, coaching the group, I love it. So join a weight loss group, definitely find a workout buddy, share your goals and progress with someone you trust to keep yourself accountable. The next thing I want you to focus on is step 5, which is focusing on the process, not just the outcome. See, when you focus on the process, rather than just the outcome, it definitely sustains motivation, okay? When you look at process-oriented goals, that absolutely leads to long-term adherence. So example, when you're in a class, like a math class, and they give you homework, and you do the process of doing your homework, and you hand it in, that's a little dopamine hit. Instead of focusing on, I need to learn algebra in middle school, you never thought that. No, you thought, I have to hand in this homework. And after you do the homework, you learn the topics, and then you do the test, and it's not that hard. Now, for weight loss, often we just focus on the weight loss. We don't focus on the process. And that's what stops long-term adherence. We lose that motivation so quickly because we don't see it coming off the scale that quickly. But if we looked at it the same way we did a year-long class in school, I think we would have a totally different attitude when it comes to weight loss. So celebrate the daily habits, like your daily homework, right? Your little journal, okay? It's so satisfying when you finish a 6-month gratitude journal and you literally look and say, every day I did this. And then you start to see changes in yourself. So celebrate the daily habits, enjoy the journey, and do not fixate on that end result. The next thing is I want you to develop and maintain daily routines that support that habit. So that may be that journal, that may be that walk, okay? But recognize and reward yourself for consistency and effort, not just the outcome. The last thing I want you to focus on is that setbacks will happen. And basically, there's so many studies that show that the only thing that was different between people who were successful and not was resilience. Because resilience helps in bouncing back from challenges. So developing a strategy to manage setbacks and view them as a learning experience rather than a failure is what keeps you going forward. And people say this all the time in business. The same goes for weight loss. Keep just going forward, make it part of your journey. Have a plan on how to handle the setback, such as reassessing your approach and seeking support. You can look in your journal and look at, where you've been tracking. Maybe change the goals you're tracking, both the quantitative, like a step goal or a food goal, and then also your mood goals, your qualitative goals that you're setting for yourself. And then I want you to practice self-compassion and focus on the recovery rather than dwelling on the mistake. Shame is the most useless emotion, period. There's no good thing that comes from shame. Period. And they'll tell people that in 12-step programs. The same thing goes for weight loss. Shame helps absolutely no one. So those are the 6 steps. I did want to kind of detour and talk about discipline versus willpower, because the biggest thing I get told, particularly people who were chronic dieters like me, I used to go through this kind of thing where I would restrict, and then at night I would eat a lot. And it would totally mess me up. And I used to think it was because of willpower. But what I didn't realize is it was the lack of discipline during the day, setting myself up for basically failure by not being disciplined, that led to poor willpower at night. And so what I would say is if you can get disciplined and get a routine rather than relying on willpower, it's going to change your game. Period. So I want to dive into that a little bit before we finish up today. So I know they sound kind of similar, discipline and willpower, but they're very, very different. And you understanding how discipline is more important than willpower is crucial. So discipline involves creating habits and routines that support your goals and make it more sustainable over the long term. Where willpower is the resistance, okay? It's fighting. It's about resisting immediate temptations, and that is more challenging to maintain consistently. So my advice for you is to establish daily routines that align with your goals, like meal prep or scheduling regular workouts. And over time, this routine becomes habit and requires less effort. So example, if I plan my meals and I know I planned and I look at my hunger cues and I look at my journal and I know if I eat this kind of meal, I'm satisfied and not hungry at night. It's a lot easier not to rely on my willpower at night to not snack because I've set myself up through my routine through the day with dopamine boosting workouts, with food I enjoy, with using intuitive eating to make sure I get enough nutrition that I'm not starving at night. Where before I would be very restrictive and then wonder why I was starving and that why I had such bad willpower, when willpower was never my issue. It was my discipline. So the more disciplined you are and the better your routine is and the more you're intuitive with how it's affecting you, how you feel throughout the day, your energy, your satisfaction, that's when the real, needle gets moved, okay? So you may use willpower, of course, to navigate immediate challenges, but recognize it's a finite source, it's easily depleted, but relying on discipline and disciplined routines is what's gonna move the needle when it comes to weight loss. And then the next thing I want to discuss here is, formulating your why and building discipline through your why. Okay, so your why is that, reasoning behind your weight loss goals. Okay, it provides motivation and purpose, and a clear understanding of your personal reasons for pursuing these goals help you focus on what you want and being resilient. Okay, there's a lot of research showing that knowing your why drives commitment and passion. So example, in school, and I keep bringing up school because most of us have been, through some type of school in our lives, okay? And so when you go through a class, the reason you're going through is because you maybe want to graduate high school, or maybe it's college, or get a degree, or get a job that you want, to buy the house you want, whatever it is, you have an ultimate why. You should have that for weight loss. You wouldn't have gotten through school without it. You're not going to get through weight loss without it. So I want you to reflect deeply and really spend some quiet time reflecting on why you want to lose weight. Is it better for your health? Increased energy, improving your self-esteem, whatever it is. For mine, it was neuropathy and sciatica. I had terrible pain. I was tired of being in pain and I wanted to move more with my kids. That simple. Now, as time has changed, I feel great. I don't have those problems anymore. Now it's just ending generational obesity. I don't want my kids to become diabetic or obese and suffer the way I did from weight stigma growing up. Not because there's nothing wrong with having a certain weight, but really, honestly, I don't want them to be in pain. I was. And if they have my same genetics, odds are the same things will happen if they fall into that diet trap and don't understand, their genetic makeup. So basically letting them eat intuitively, showing them how I do it myself. I don't moralize foods in front of them. These kind of things really help. So for each reason, ask yourself why it's important to you. This will help you dig deeper and uncover your core motivations, okay? And then I want you to create a vision statement. Summarize what you've come up with in those reasons you asked for your why, okay, and captures your deeper purpose. Place it somewhere visible, like maybe in your bathroom. I remember when I was doing my coaching cert, okay, I did with Health and Wellness Academy, and when I did that night class, it was like 3 times a week for 2 hours. It was a legitimate class, it was very good. And they had us working on our why vision statements and really helped me get deeper than I even learned in medical school on how to do this. And when you place it somewhere it's visible, like maybe where you wash your face and you remind yourself daily, it really helps that intrinsic motivation stemming from you. So definitely focus on this. And then when it comes to building that discipline routine based on the why, so remember your why and create a routine that goes around this. Okay, that helps support this. It keeps it relevant for you. Because if you're doing something that's not relevant to the why, it's not going to feel very fruitful. So design a daily schedule that incorporates healthy eating habits and stick to it, okay? Consistency builds discipline over time. So even if it's 5 minutes a day of working out, do it. If it's 5 minutes a day of meal prep where you're just cutting up a few vegetables, do it. The other thing is, try to set up a routine with triggers, meaning have certain cues to reinforce your routine. So setting a specific time for, say, workout or meal prep. Like Sunday afternoon's always meal prep for me. The next thing is reward yourself. Definitely give yourself positive reinforcement for when you adhere to a routine. Example, like a new book or maybe a massage for after completing a week of a full routine. That's focusing on the progress and rewarding yourself in a positive way that'll make you feel good. So just to wrap it up, staying motivated and overcoming self-doubt is achievable with the strategies. So setting clear goals, tracking your progress, maintain a positive mindset, build support, focus on the process, not the result, managing your setbacks with resilience, and understanding the difference between your discipline and willpower and having a strong why will absolutely help you achieve your weight loss goals. So thanks for tuning into the podcast, and I will see you next week.